OTEC is baseload, and you're right that there's we've been able to identify 1,000 carbon-based plants around the world that have a higher cost of energy than our LCOE at scale. But that only makes up about 300 gigawatts of the 8 terawatts. So what do we do with the rest of it is the question, especially when it's in the middle of the ocean. Well, actually, I brought something for show and tell.
Oh, man, awesome. What is this, man? What have you got here for us?
This is what's called a manganese nodule.
It looks like a shit.
It looks... That's a space poopy. That's a space peanut. Joke
if you told me this is actually not shit and this was just a trick to get me to have a shit. Anyone listening, I'm holding like a rock. It looks like, it does look like a shit. But it also, I can imagine this is volcanic rock?
No, that is a ball of pure metal.
What metal?
Well, the nickname for the manganese nodules are the battery rock.
Okay, explain this to me.
So this contains manganese, cobalt, nickel, copper, a bunch of trace, rare earth metals, depending on the formation region, lithium, and there are more. It's just a ball of metal.
Where does it come from?
Sitting on the floor of the ocean, 20,000 feet below the surface, and there are trillions of these over 10 million square kilometers across the Pacific.
This is what Elon Musk
Indian
needs.
Ocean. Actually, Howard Hughes was the original, billionaire who was. There was this whole story of Howard Hughes, and they were working with the government. There was a Russian nuclear submarine that had crashed, right? And so the U.S. government worked with Howard Hughes on this farce to go mine these in the middle of the ocean, but the real reason was to go recover that nuclear sub. But the cover was to go mine these because these have been known for 70 years. And the largest and most economically important region for these is about 1,000 kilometers southeast of Hawaii. And, I asked the question earlier, it's like, well, to the solar people, well, where do you get those minerals?
What is the value of that?
This rock?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got this from a friend, but I think I've seen them sold online, because Hawaii, Manoa were my alma mater and who we're working with on some of the things. We study these, but I think on the open market, this is probably like $300 or so.
That piece there?
Yeah.
Because somebody wants to own it, or the value of the metals in it is about $300?
Yeah, about that.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, there's more of those metals that I mentioned in these rocks than are available terrestrially by, I forget the exact multiple, but it's a large multiple. And I think the estimated value of the Clarion-Clipperton Fracture Zone, the CCZ, which is that zone about 1,000 kilometers southeast of Hawaii, the total value of all these manganese nodules is about $60 trillion. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, $60 trillion.
Danny, let's get a sub.
Manganese nodules.
With a claw and a basket.
That's all you need.
The Wikipedia page for manganese nodules.
Let's put it up,
polymetallic nodules, either one will pull it up.
How did they get there?
So the region that they form, there you go.
Right.
The whole seabed just looks like...
Cameron's got one, hasn't he?
So the region that they're formed is in the middle of the ocean.
Hold on. Very little is known about deep sea ecosystems or the potential impacts of deep sea mining. Polymetallic nodule fields are hotspots of abundance and diversity of highly vulnerable
abyssal fauna.
Yeah, what's abyssal fauna? You want to know that?
So the abyssal zone is a region between a certain depth, right? There's the mesopelagic, the abyssal pelagic, the hadopelagic, from the Marianas Trench. The abyssal pelagic is like the lowest
You know a
besides
lot of stuff about the ocean.
I am an oceanographer.
I mean, I know. Okay. Nodule mining could affect tens of thousands of square kilometers of these deep sea ecosystems and ecosystems.
Millions.
Yeah, okay. So how do you get it without fucking that up?
So this is, this kind of touches on the question. Again,
Can you leave that up? I just want to read a bit more in a second.
And then
Actually,
pull up the picture of the fields. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful.
Can you get the images up, Danny? People should check this out. Go and Google these manganese nodules. Can you go to Google Images?
Yeah, I'm doing that now. I've got it here.
And so the regions that these things are formed.
Holy shit! Look at that one.
Yeah. It's.
Do you know what that reminds me of? That one there. Go on that one, Danny. Click on that image. It kind of reminds me of aliens. Do you know where they've got the pods?
Balls of fucking metal sitting on the 20,000 feet below the surface. It is cuckoo bananas nuts.
And how did it get there? Sorry.
So the region that these are formed in, it's in the middle of the ocean, right? And the seafloor of any region is determined by the shit that falls down. Well, in the middle of the ocean, there's no terrigenous material from land. There's no coral. There's nothing really living above it. So there's nothing formed. There's nothing falling down. So what happens is you'll get a nucleation point, like a shark's tooth or a fish bone will fall from the surface, and around it, the dissolved metals in the ocean, just kind of glom on. Now, some of these form, there's hydrogenesis, and then there's diagenesis, formed right below the surface. Some are formed from dissolved metals in the ocean. Some are formed from dissolved metals here on the potato fields of the deep sea.
What is that, gold in the middle there?
No, it's copper.
All right. Danny, go on that mine manganese nodule to the left of that.
This one?
Yeah. Pipe string.
Do these happen deep in the ocean because they need the pressure?
Yeah, pressure is a big portion of everything. But it's just that there's nothing falling down.
Right.
It takes tens of millions of years for something like this to form, right? It's not like, because there's not a lot of dissolved metals in the ocean.
Right.
And it's enough to power all the solar. There are enough of these minerals to build all the solar panels, all the batteries the world needs. And, we can move, instead of tearing down the rainforest with slave child labor.
I was going to say, this is going to put a lot of African 12-year-olds out of work.
And so it's really a, it's a binary question. You read the part about the mining, and it's if we need these minerals, where do we get them? Now, this region, again, there's not a lot of shit down there. There's high diversity of fauna, but there's a very low biomass versus the Congo rainforest, which is the last carbon negative rainforest on planet Earth. There is both a high diversity and high biomass.
Danny, can you go on that manganese nodules for sale?
Yeah. What is the cost of these things going to be?
Holy shit! Look at that one, $5,700. That's too much. Can you go on eBay? Let's have a look.
I got to do this on my screen because I can't see that one.
Right. I'm going to be honest. Some of them look cooler than yours.
They do. Yeah.
And that one there does look. The E-Rocks mineral auction. That does look like one of those aliens.
Yeah. Like an alien, like the egg.
The pod, the egg.
Yeah.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Fuck
tungsten cubes.
Yeah.
Buy manganese nodules.
Nick Carter, we got something here for you.
Would it damage the ocean floor to mine those? And does it matter at that depth?
So, and that's the question. You've touched on the binary question of where do we get the metals? We need these metals. Mm-hmm. There's no question about that. Where do we get them? Do we get them from the bottom of the ocean, which is a terminal? The abyssal pelagic, the abyssal benthic zone is a terminal ecosystem. Shit falls down there, but the question is whether it comes back up. And the answer is no one can tell us because there's no clear signs that it does. Now, we know that the rainforest is highly connected ecosystem.
Yeah.
There's no question there. Now, whether the things live there that live on these manganese nodules. And of course, so the ISA, the International Seabed Authority, under the charter from the UN, has already issued permits. They've issued permits for the extraction of these to, I think, about 1,000,000 square kilometers have been permitted for extraction. And then another million, they've sold off the parcels of land. And then another 1,000,000 square kilometers have been reserved for developing countries who can't compete with your China's, Germany, US, France, Japan. They all have stakes. So half of the mining area for these has been reserved for developing countries so that the entire world can share in this mineral wealth that is collective.
But how? Because this is international waters, right?
Yep.
Who owns that land?
The International Seabed Authority has jurisdiction over it.
Who gives them jurisdiction?
The UN.
Okay.
So member nations, which of course they all are.
Sorry, I'm so distracted by that. Superb rare ancient Madagascar. You on this Madagascar one? Also, it makes me laugh. It's in the used category. What the fuck have they used it for? Superb rare ancient Madagascar septarian nodule. Looks like a dinosaur egg fossil gemstone. $2,500. I want it. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I want it.
Display.
Yeah. So
you keep it on the table for all future guests who have to say you have to find $60 trillion worth of minerals that are not being used.
Do you know what we could do? Just put it there and say, listen, I'm not going to tell you what this is, but I dare you to touch it. People will instantly freak out and they won't know why. I'm not fucking touching that.
We're going to meme manganese nodules into the public consciousness.
How do I get one? You want to sell me that one?
No, this one's
So that one's yours.
personal.
I want one.
But so we kind of missed a link. So
what has that got to do with anything?
It came from you're going to have tons of excess energy, but obviously presumably that's to mine these. But how?
Well, it turns out that every manganese nodule region happens to be in the OTEC zone, and that a huge right now the reason why we're not mining these is because obviously it doesn't reach cost parity with terrigenous sources. So it turns out that in the middle of the ocean, a large scale mining operation needs a lot of energy, and that equates to about 40% of the cost of pulling these out. Now, that requires shipping in just absolute shit ton of fossil fuels, which have variable cost. As we're seeing now, the cost is even higher. Well, if you had, let's say there was some magical source of energy
in the middle of the ocean.
In the middle of the ocean
right
at
where
3 cents per kilowatt hour, or of course, in the middle of the ocean where there are no other energies, what we sell that energy for is a different question. We produce it for 3 cents. What we sell it for is another question.
Right.
We'll mine it. We'll mine Bitcoin at the 3 cent. We sell it to ourselves for 3 cents, but we sell it to someone else 5 cents, 6 cents, whatever multiple. There are no other energy sources in the middle of the ocean.
So on the timeline of everything you're doing, where does this sit? Because you're going to do the proof of concept.
Yep.
When do you start mining?
I'm not going to mine these. No.
You're going to give someone else the energy. You're going to sell it to them so they can do it.
So like I said, the ISA has already permitted mining, and it looks like the most likely case is there's going to be the first country, Nauru, has petitioned the ISA to commence activity in 2023. They're not ready, obviously, but it's to spur the ISA to issue guidelines to do so. And there's most likely going to be a moratorium for about 10 years is what the world is sort of moving towards. And it turns out 10 years is about our timeline to get 100 to 400 megawatt OTEC stand-up. So there's this convergent evolution of these two technologies. And then there's, of course, all these other use cases that people aren't considering in the middle of the ocean. Green hydrogen production. There's obviously no way you're going to be able to produce green hydrogen at cost parity with steam methane reforming using fucking solar. Obviously,
I was just
solar
thinking,
panels and wind. Duh. But 3 cents per kilowatt hour, and instead of having to go to, say, the Sahara or all the ships in the world for hydrogen have to go to a handful of locations. Well, if you only have to travel to the equator, it's saving you a big chunk of change. And with unlimited energy, you can solve unlimited problems. You can beat back, if you have unlimited energy, you can beat back sea level rise. If you have unlimited energy, you can beat back shifts in the water cycle.
Well, they talk about civilization types and how they harness energy, right? Isn't it like what are we? Are we still a type 1
this like
civilization?
We are
Cardiff?
0.7.
We're 0.7.
0.7 on and this was Sagan. So Sagan's contribution
that
to
up?
this. Sagan's contribution was an actual formula. And so the way that type 1 civilization is defined is, a civilization that use all the energy that's available to it from its home star on its home planet. Well, that number is defined by what I was talking about earlier, and energy from the sun on a flat Earth, on a flat disk.
We're at 0.73 on this scale. See, you do know everything. Type 2 can harness the total energy of its planet's parent star.
40% of type 1 is only available through OTEC. There is no type 1 without OTEC. And what that means is most likely, if we don't do OTEC, then the Kardashev scale is often linked to the Fermi paradox, right?
I love the Fermi paradox.
And the most likely explanation for the Fermi paradox is that the great filter is ahead of us, and it's
our stupidity.
It's our stupidity, our resource use, and our inability to get all of the energy that is available to us from the sun. Again, 40% of that is only available through OTEC, and we can use that energy to go get these fucking rocks from the bottom of the fucking ocean and make all the fucking batteries and solar panels.